the night Ronaldo nearly became a City hero, not a United legend. A quiet room in Lisbon. A phone's blue glow cuts the dark. Cristiano Ronaldo stares at an incoming call. Not from an agent, not from a teammate, but from the man he still calls boss. Outside, the world thinks he's hours away from joining Manchester City. Inside, one voice will decide if history turns red or sky blue. Money's on the table, titles are in reach, but one word, spoken down the line, could erase 2 decades of loyalty in a heartbeat. If a single phone call could stop one of football's biggest transfers, what else have we misunderstood about his return?
The belief was simple. Cristiano came back for cash and commercial clout. But the truth was layered. A sentimental pull toward a club that made him, and a strategic fit for a team desperate for a finisher. It mattered in August 2021 because United had no room for error. Man City, fresh off a domestic double, were in talks with Jorge Mendes. Juventus were ready to sell. United were on the clock. On 27 August 2021, the announcement dropped. Agreement reached, pending medical. That day, United hijacked one of the most shocking near transfers in Premier League history. The stakes? Not just points and goals, but the rewriting of a player-club legacy in real time.
Cristiano Ronaldo de Santos Aveiro was born on February 5, 1985, in Funchal, Madeira, a volcanic island where life is simple, but dreams often feel far away. His father worked as a kit man at a local club. His mother was a cook and cleaner. Money was scarce, but ambition was abundant. From a young age, Cristiano's pace and determination outstripped boys older and stronger than him. At 12 years old, he left home for Sporting Lisbon's academy, a move that meant living in a dorm and seeing his family only a few times a year. There, coaches noticed a streak in him. He wasn't just talented, he was relentless. He always wanted to be the best in training, recalled a former Sporting youth coach. If he lost, he would not sleep. In 2003, a preseason friendly against Manchester United became a turning point. An 18-year-old Ronaldo dismantled United's defense so completely that senior players urged Sir Alex Ferguson to sign him before he left the stadium. That transfer not only launched his career in England, but also forged a bond with Ferguson that would outlast trophies, transfers, and even departures. Ferguson didn't just coach Ronaldo, he mentored him. In later years, Ronaldo would say, "He's like a father in football. He taught me everything." That relationship would be tested and proven in August 2021, when Ronaldo was on the brink of signing for Manchester City. His character, shaped by early hardship and professional discipline, carried a code. Never forget who believed in you first. Never betray the shirt that made you name. To outsiders, this could look like sentimentality. To Ronaldo, it was loyalty, and loyalty for him was non-negotiable. When he faced the choice between sky blue and red, it wasn't just about contracts or tactical systems. It was about keeping faith with the man who gave him his first platform, and with the fans who made his name echo across stadiums worldwide. The date was August 27, 2021. Juventus manager Massimiliano Allegri stepped into the press room and dropped a bombshell. Cristiano told me yesterday that he no longer has any intention of playing for Juventus. He will not be selected for tomorrow's match. It wasn't a rumor anymore. It was official. The timing was critical. Manchester City had been in talks with Ronaldo's agent, Jorge Mendes, after failing to land Harry Kane. For hours, it looked like the unthinkable was about to happen. Ronaldo, the iconic number 7 of Manchester United's first golden era under Ferguson, could be unveiled in sky blue. City's pitch made sense on paper. Pep Guardiola's chance creation, Ronaldo's finishing, a squad competing for every major title. But there was a complication. City were reluctant to pay a transfer fee, preferring a free move.
Juventus wanted a sale, not a giveaway. That opening was all Manchester United needed. Mendes reached out to the club. Conversations moved at speed. United's hierarchy knew this wasn't just about football ability, it was about symbolism, identity, and preventing the nightmare of their legend wearing a rival's shirt. By mid-afternoon, a new headline appeared on United's official channels. Manchester United is delighted to confirm that the club has reached an agreement with Juventus for the transfer of Cristiano Ronaldo, subject to agreement of personal terms, visa, and medical. The reaction was instant. Fans who had spent the morning in disbelief now flooded social media with jubilation. From dread to delirium, in less than 12 hours, the story had flipped. Yet, cameras and headlines missed the quiet, decisive moments, the private phone calls, the emotional appeals, and the reminder of promises made years earlier. Those who knew the truth understood that this wasn't just a deal snatched from a rival, it was a rescue mission of a legacy, of a connection between player and club, and of a history that could have been rewritten in the wrong colors.
From the moment the deal was announced, the story seemed ready-made for easy headlines. The prodigal son returns, the brand explodes, the shirt sales skyrocket. It didn't help that Manchester United's marketing machine leaned into the narrative, plastering Ronaldo's image across every platform within hours of his arrival. For critics, it confirmed the suspicion. This was nostalgia dressed up as ambition. The footballing logic, United's lack of a true penalty box predator, was overshadowed by the glamour of the homecoming. The idea that he returned for marketing and money stuck fast, especially outside Old Trafford. But football seasons are not defined in press releases. On the pitch, Ronaldo made an immediate impact. His second debut on September 11, 2021 against Newcastle United produced 2 goals in front of a rapturous Old Trafford. Weeks later, in the Champions League, he delivered stoppage-time winners against Villarreal on September 29 and Atalanta on October 20, keeping United alive in the group stage. In the league, his hat-trick against Tottenham on March 12, 2022 turned a tense evening into a victory that reignited their top 4 hopes. Still, for every match-winning performance, there were moments that seemed to feed the critics. When United struggled off the ball, the spotlight inevitably landed on Ronaldo. Interim manager Ralf Rangnick, a proponent of high pressing, admitted publicly that Ronaldo was not a pressing monster and that the team had to adapt. To some, that sounded like confirmation he was a tactical liability. To others, it was simply an acknowledgement of reality for a 37-year-old forward whose value came in the final third. Social media amplified every narrative. If United failed to press effectively, Ronaldo was accused of laziness. If they won because of his goals, it became proof the rest of the team was failing him. Few conversations explored the middle ground, that United's squad was structurally unbalanced, their midfield often exposed, and their defensive shape inconsistent regardless of who led the line. Ronaldo's own silence during this period added to the ambiguity. He rarely addressed the speculation about his motivations or his future, allowing others to fill the void. It wasn't until November 2022, in a high-profile interview, that he admitted he was close to joining Manchester City and that Sir Alex Ferguson's intervention changed his mind. By then, the season's mixed results had already written a complicated chapter. To those willing to look deeper, his performances were consistent with the tactical role United had envisioned for him. A focal point in the box, a leader in moments when margins were razor thin. The goals he scored were not accidents. They were the product of anticipation, positioning, and a skill set that United sorely lacked before his return. Yet the "he came for PR" narrative persisted, in part because it was simpler than acknowledging the messy truth. Ronaldo's comeback was both a symbolic coup and a calculated footballing decision delivered in a team still searching for coherence.
Cristiano Ronaldo's second stint at Manchester United wasn't designed to turn him into something he was not. The club didn't bring him back to lead a relentless high press or drift wide to overload fullbacks. They brought him to do what he had mastered for nearly 2 decades: decide matches inside the penalty area. United's attack in 2020-21 often broke down in the final third. They created chances but lacked a pure finisher to consistently convert them. Edinson Cavani, though effective, struggled with injuries and couldn't be relied upon for a full season. Ronaldo's arrival was meant to solve that specific problem, not to overhaul the team's pressing system. The numbers tell the story. On August 27, 2021, United announced an agreement with Juventus to sign Ronaldo pending medical and visa approval. The deal was worth €15 million plus add-ons, structured over several years. On September 11, 2021, Ronaldo scored twice on his second debut against Newcastle United, marking the first time since 2008 that he netted a brace at Old Trafford. On September 29, 2021, he scored a 95th-minute winner against Villarreal in his record 178th Champions League appearance. On March 12, 2022, his hat trick against Tottenham made him the highest-scoring player in FIFA-recognized history, surpassing Joseph Beacon's tallying of 805 goals. Across all competitions in 2021-22, Ronaldo scored 24 goals, 18 of them in the Premier League, more than double the total of any other United player that season. Tactically, Ronaldo remained the team's reference point in the box. His heat maps showed concentrated activity in central attacking zones, rarely drifting deep unless to link play momentarily. This discipline in positioning ensured he was always available for the final ball, whether from Bruno Fernandes's through passes or Jadon Sancho's cutbacks. Defensively, Rangnick's comments that Ronaldo was not a pressing monster were factual rather than critical. At 37, his role in defensive transitions was limited, but in attacking transitions, he still carried weight, dragging center backs out of position and creating space for teammates. Analyst Michael Cox noted during that season, United without Ronaldo lack a focal point. With him, they have someone who can turn low-quality chances into goals. That was the trade-off: sacrifice some pressing intensity to gain clinical finishing when chances came. From a data perspective, Ronaldo's goals often came at pivotal moments. 6 of his league goals directly turned draws into wins, adding a potential 12 points to United's tally. In the Champions League, his goals against Villarreal and Atalanta single-handedly kept United in the knockout race. The signing was never about running harder. It was about delivering when it mattered most. For all the tactical compromises, the numbers show he fulfilled the role United envisioned: the match decider, the box predator, the player whose mere presence forced defenders to think twice.
It was late August 2021, and the hours were slipping away. In the public eye, Manchester City were in pole position. Reports claimed Ronaldo's camp had agreed personal terms. Juventus were ready to let him go. All that remained, it seemed, was a final nod from City's hierarchy. In Lisbon, Ronaldo's phone rang. The caller ID read, Sir Alex Ferguson. For the man who had brought him to England as a teenager, this wasn't a casual conversation. Ferguson went straight to the point. You cannot play for City. It's impossible. There was no anger, no pleading, just conviction. The two spoke about loyalty, about the legacy already carved in stone at Old Trafford, and about how certain lines, once crossed, could never be uncrossed. Ferguson didn't have to remind Ronaldo of the nights they'd shared, Champions League finals, title deciders, moments when the shirt on his back meant more than the numbers on a contract. In that moment, the equation changed. Ronaldo had a decision to make: the clean project and near-certain silverware of City, or the emotional and imperfect homecoming at United. The former appealed to the pragmatist in him. The latter spoke to the boy from the Dera who had once vowed to repay the man who believed in him first. By the next morning, the City deal was off the table. Within hours, United's media channels exploded with the announcement. Fans who had spent the night fearing betrayal woke to news that their hero was coming home. The symbolic power of that call would echo throughout the season.
In matches like the September 29, 2021 winner against Villarreal and the March 12, 2022 hat-trick against Tottenham, you could see the same fire that Ferguson had tapped into that night. These were not just goals, they were affirmations that the choice he made was about more than silverware. Freeze the frame. Ferguson on one end of the line, Ronaldo on the other. 2 decades of history compressed into a single decision. It was late August 2021, and the hours were slipping away. In the public eye, Manchester City were in pole position. Reports claimed Ronaldo's camp had agreed personal terms. Juventus were ready to let him go. All that remained, it seemed, was a final nod from City's hierarchy. In Lisbon, Ronaldo's phone rang. The caller ID read, Sir Alex Ferguson. For the man who had brought him to England as a teenager, this wasn't a casual conversation. Ferguson went straight to the point. You cannot play for City. It's impossible. There was no anger, no pleading, just conviction. The two spoke about loyalty, about the legacy already carved in stone at Old Trafford, and about how certain lines, once crossed, could never be uncrossed. Ferguson didn't have to remind Ronaldo of the nights they'd shared, Champions League finals, title deciders, moments when the shirt on his back meant more than the numbers on a contract. In that moment, the equation changed. Ronaldo had a decision to make: the clean project and near-certain silverware of City, or the emotional and imperfect homecoming at United. The former appealed to the pragmatist in him. The latter spoke to the boy from the Dera who had once vowed to repay the man who believed in him first. By the next morning, the City deal was off the table. Within hours, United's media channels exploded with the announcement. Fans who had spent the night fearing betrayal woke to news that their hero was coming home. The symbolic power of that call would echo throughout the season. In matches like the September 29, 2021 winner against Villarreal and the March 12, 2022 hat-trick against Tottenham, you could see the same fire that Ferguson had tapped into that night. These were not just goals, they were affirmations that the choice he made was about more than silverware. Freeze the frame. Ferguson on one end of the line, Ronaldo on the other. 2 decades of history compressed into a single decision.
Cristiano Ronaldo's Manchester United legacy now spans 2 distinct eras. The first, from 2003 to 2009, was defined by rapid evolution, from a raw winger obsessed with stepovers to a Ballon d'Or winner, Champions League champion, and the world's most feared forward. The second, in 2021-2022, was about something different, returning not to build a career, but to protect a legacy. By the numbers, his second spell lacked the silverware of the first, yet moments like his September 29, 2021 winner against Villarreal and the March 12, 2022 hat-trick against Tottenham are etched into Old Trafford's modern folklore. In total, he scored 145 goals for the club across both stints, a tally that cements him among United's greatest ever forwards. Off the pitch, the decision to turn down Manchester City will be remembered as an act of allegiance, in a sport where loyalty is often a marketing slogan rather than a reality. It wasn't without cost. United's turbulence meant fewer opportunities for trophies, and his final months were marred by public disagreements with management. As for what's next, Ronaldo's path has already shifted beyond Old Trafford. His move to Al Nassr in the Saudi Pro League signaled the closing chapter of his European career. Possible futures include an eventual retirement from professional football, a farewell appearance at Sporting Lisbon, or a deeper involvement in the global expansion of the game, whether through academy projects or ambassadorial roles. No matter the next step, the red shirt's weight in his story is immovable. Twice he wore it, and twice it defined him. First as a prodigy, then as a custodian of his own history.
Strip away the headlines, the speculation, and the noise, and you're left with a simple truth. Cristiano Ronaldo's return to Manchester United in 2021 was a decision rooted in loyalty and sharpened by strategy. It wasn't perfect. The team's instability meant the fairy tale didn't end with silverware, but the choice itself remains one of the most defining acts of his career. From that midnight call with Sir Alex Ferguson to the goals that reignited Old Trafford,
Ronaldo proved that sometimes the most powerful moves in football are not about what you gain, but about what you refuse to lose.